Vice President Harris has not appeared in a single interview or an unscripted encounter with voters for 35
We've been
days.
listening to independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Let him say that on national television, and people go, oh, wait a minute, what is he saying? What's going on here? And then, like, I like that guy better. And he's a candidate. He's like a reasonable, sort of centrist character. Hold on. That's our guy. That's our guy. And people would vote for him, and they didn't want it.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., nephew of John F. Kennedy, recently exposed the Democratic Party's dark side, shocking many people with his revelations.
Installed a candidate who was so unpopular with voters that she dropped out in 2020 without winning a single delegate.
Here's the twist. CNN cut his speech halfway, and MSNBC didn't air it at all. Why? His comments threatened the carefully crafted image of Democratic leaders, including Vice President Kamala Harris, which they wanted to maintain and protect.
Following my first discussion with President Trump, I tried unsuccessfully to open similar discussions with Vice President Harris. Vice President Harris declined to meet or even to speak with me.
What exactly did RFK Jr. declare that sent shockwaves through the political arena? And why is the mainstream media so fervently attempting to suppress his statements? Let us delve into the truths that Kamala Harris, CNN, and MSNBC are determined to obscure from the public.
RFK saying things where people accuse him. People have accused you of this. What is your answer? Like, let him say that on national television, and people go, oh, wait a minute, what is he saying? What's going on here?
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. embarked on his presidential campaign with a distinct aim: to reintroduce integrity and transparency into American politics. As the offspring of Robert F. Kennedy and the nephew of JFK, he bears a significant legacy. However, unlike his renowned relatives, RFK Jr. is challenging entrenched conventions, making him a target.
Who against President Biden? The same shadowy DNC operatives appointed his successor, also without an election.
Initially, RFK Jr. embarked on his presidential campaign as an independent, resolutely resisting the pressures exerted by the two-party system. This stance elicited a blend of support and skepticism. Among black voters, there was significant interest, with many demanding concrete proof of his intentions before offering full endorsement. Despite the increasing support, major media outlets like CNN and MSNBC appeared less inclined to provide him with a substantial platform. The situation grew increasingly questionable when CNN, following its customary pattern, abruptly cut to commercial during Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s announcement on Friday that he was suspending his campaign and endorsing Donald Trump, particularly as he began delivering critical commentary on Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris.
Vice President Harris has not appeared in a single interview or an unscripted encounter with voters for 35
We've been
days.
listening to independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Undoubtedly, CNN is keen on ensuring that the favorable media portrayal of Kamala Harris emerging from the Democratic National Convention in Chicago this week continues to resonate in the minds of American voters. Commenting on the Democratic Party's leadership, Kennedy remarked from Phoenix, Arizona, that they had installed a candidate who was so disfavored by voters that she exited the 2020 race without securing a single delegate. Both my uncle and my father excelled in debate. They took pride in their capacity to engage thoroughly with any opponent in the intellectual contest of ideas. RFK Jr. continued, referring to the late President John F. Kennedy and 1968 presidential candidate RFK Sr., they would be astonished to discover a Democratic Party presidential nominee, such as Vice President Kamala Harris, who has not participated in a single interview or unmediated interaction with voters for an extended period of 35 days. Kennedy observed this situation, and that is when CNN intervened, alleging that the candidate was merely elaborating on the reasons behind his abrupt withdrawal from the presidential race. What they were actually implying was, disregard this individual. RFK Jr. perceived this slight and subsequently posted on X simply CNN, alongside the clip of their interruption of his remarks. Ironically, Kennedy had previously highlighted how traditional media outlets had systematically neglected to cover his campaign, initially to support President Joe Biden and now to assist Harris. Regardless, RFK Jr. did not limit his criticism to the Democratic Party. He also directly challenged Vice President Kamala Harris. According to him, Harris refused to meet with him to discuss significant issues, including a potential cabinet position. This revelation paints a portrait of a leadership more concerned with preserving power than engaging in substantive dialogue with opposing viewpoints and potential allies.
First discussion with President Trump, I tried unsuccessfully to open similar discussions with Vice President Harris. Vice President Harris declined to meet or even to speak with me.
A commentator astutely remarked, "It is indeed remarkable that Trump demonstrated a willingness to engage with RFK Jr., whereas Kamala Harris abstained. This stark contrast reveals who is genuinely positioned to lead all Americans as president and could profoundly influence the election's outcome." Another voter highlighted, CNN truncated the coverage and MSNBC completely omitted it. This blatant censorship provokes a critical inquiry. What are they so deeply apprehensive about? RFK Jr. is far from an ordinary candidate. He is a scion of the Kennedy lineage, audaciously confronting and exposing the entrenched corruption within his own party. Such a narrative is precisely what the Democratic establishment seeks to obfuscate. The candidate cited the defense of free speech, the Ukrainian conflict, and the escalating childhood health crisis as the primary reasons behind his endorsement of Trump.
Had been reaching out to me, and I talked to him a few hours after the assassination attempt, and we had a long conversation by phone. Broad issues that were most important to me, the ones that brought me into the campaign, which was ending the Ukraine war, ending the censorship, and protecting children's health.
Kennedy declared that his name would persist on the ballots of most states, barring 10 critical battlegrounds, despite the suspension of his campaign. He elucidated that his rationale for retracting from these pivotal states was to avoid inadvertently advancing Harris's candidacy. Recent polling metrics reveal that RFK Jr. draws more electoral support from potential Trump constituents than from Harris's base. In the final analysis, his withdrawal from key states may only effectuate a negligible shift of 1 or 2% toward Trump, considering Kennedy's overall 5% support. Nonetheless, such a marginal shift could wield significant influence in determining the presidential race's outcome. Polling data from swing states illustrates a contest of remarkable closeness, with Trump and Harris either in a statistical tie or separated by a mere 1 or 2 percentage points in particular locales. The irony is unmistakable. If Harris and the Democratic Party's exhaustive maneuvers to obstruct Kennedy's primary campaign, culminating in his disaffiliation from the party, eventuate in a Trump triumph, it would constitute a profound instance of poetic justice for the Republicans. Yet this political drama does not conclude there. In a conspicuous attempt to undermine RFK Jr.'s gravitas and presidential demeanor, Kamala Harris allegedly metamorphosed her campaign into a veritable spectacle, enlisting Hollywood aristocracy, including the likes of Oprah Winfrey, to influence the electorate. This strategy underscores a broader tactic, one that prioritizes the allure of celebrity endorsements over substantive political discourse, aiming to captivate voters through superficial appeal rather than meaningful engagement.
Do is elect Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States.
President Biden's campaign has encountered a diminution of fervor from the entertainment sector. In contrast, Vice President Kamala Harris has reinvigorated the Democratic ticket through her presidential candidacy, eliciting an influx of celebrity endorsements and infusing the campaign with renewed dynamism. Harris's bid has rapidly established itself as a lodestar for Hollywood's elite. Her capacity to secure high-profile endorsements and mobilize the entertainment industry is not merely a demonstration of personal charisma, but also a calculated strategy to captivate the electorate and galvanize the Democratic base. The constellation of star-studded support that Harris commands is a substantial asset, fortifying her image as a candidate adept at amalgamating diverse voices and viewpoints. This endorsement from the entertainment realm underscores both her appeal and the strategic maneuvering necessary to enhance political visibility and energize her party's constituents.
Now, I know my ladies in the crowd love their body. Real hot, girl. And if you want to keep loving your body, you know who to vote for.
The engagement of high-profile celebrities such as Megan Thee Stallion and Quavo at Harris's rally in Atlanta profoundly exemplifies the campaign's strategic prowess in mobilizing younger voters and tapping into contemporary cultural currents. These prominent figures, celebrated for their extensive influence and substantial followings, provide an invaluable platform for disseminating Harris's message to demographics that might otherwise remain detached from traditional political engagement. In Los Angeles, a fundraising soiree attracted distinguished attendees, including actors Ashley Park and Darren Criss, underscoring the campaign's magnetic appeal within the entertainment industry. Variety has extensively covered this influx of support, emphasizing that the involvement of such esteemed personalities not only elevates Harris's visibility, but also signals a robust alignment with cultural influencers who shape popular sentiment. Among the Harris campaign's most potent assets, Katzenberg's involvement reflects a notable shift in Hollywood's political allegiance from Biden to Harris, signaling a reorientation in endorsement dynamics. The withdrawal of support from Biden by influential Hollywood figures following his underwhelming debate performance underscores the considerable influence of the entertainment industry on political outcomes. Notably, George Clooney, who had previously organized a fundraiser for Biden, publicly called for his withdrawal from the race, criticizing his lackluster debate performance. This shift in allegiance highlights the volatile nature of political support and the impact wielded by prominent Hollywood figures. As Harris's campaign gains momentum, renewed financial backing from Hollywood benefactors has resumed, proving essential for maintaining a vigorous campaign and ensuring a presence in crucial battleground states. With the backing of influential donors, Harris is strategically positioned to remain prominently in the public eye and continue her campaign with vigor. The involvement of celebrities like Charli XCX, whose endorsement of Harris has spurred a wave of memes and solidified her presence within contemporary pop culture discourse, exemplifies the campaign's adept use of media and cultural touchstones. However, the collaboration between Hollywood and politics is not without its complexities. Instead of focusing on substantive issues, Harris's strategy of attracting high-profile figures raises questions about whether she is prioritizing celebrity appeal over addressing the core needs of voters. This approach may appear as an attempt to manipulate voter sentiment through the allure of celebrity endorsement, rather than presenting a robust policy agenda. Hollywood support is not confined to rally appearances. It also involves substantial financial injections from industry heavyweights previously aligned with Biden. This shift in support raises concerns about the growing linkage between political backing and the ability to attract star power rather than merit for leadership. Relying on Hollywood to advance a political agenda introduces risks, potentially transforming the election into a popularity contest rather than a serious debate on the nation's future. When celebrities dominate the discourse, substantive issues may be overshadowed by the spectacle of glamour, leading voters to be influenced more by entertainment than by informed discussion. Harris's strategy of blending politics with Hollywood might suggest a greater emphasis on showmanship rather than demonstrating genuine qualifications for office. In an electoral context where substance should take precedence over style, this approach could inadvertently undermine her appeal to voters seeking authentic leadership. As the controversy surrounding Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s campaign and his treatment by mainstream media gains traction, influential figures from various platforms have expressed their concerns. Joe Rogan, a prominent podcaster and commentator known for challenging conventional norms, has addressed the issue on his podcast, exploring why major media outlets such as CNN and MSNBC might be reluctant to provide RFK Jr. with the platform he deserves. Rogan emphasized that Kennedy's unfiltered, direct approach to addressing critical issues could disrupt the established political landscape. In one of his most significant observations, Rogan suggested that a debate between RFK Jr. and President Biden would reveal stark contrasts in their perspectives and personalities. He highlighted Kennedy's extensive knowledge and deep understanding of systemic issues as providing arguments that could resonate with a wide segment of the American populace. Rogan envisioned Kennedy being given the opportunity to speak freely on national television, which could profoundly alter public perception.
Imagine RFK telling the truth about certain issues, RFK explaining how these systems work, RFK saying things where people accuse him. People have accused you of this. What is your answer?
Comedian Cat Williams has criticized the current political landscape, lamenting that the Founding Fathers never intended for America to devolve into a two-party system. In a recent commentary, Williams emphasized that an independent party should hold as much sway as the Democrats and Republicans. However, this ideal remains unfulfilled, primarily due to the deliberate suppression of independent voices like RFK Jr. by both media conglomerates and entrenched political establishments, which conspire to stifle true political diversity and maintain the dominance of the existing partisan duopoly.
The two parties was not what they had in mind.
No.
They always thought that it would be two main and another independent party. They always assumed the independent party would be just as strong as the others.
Simultaneously, comedian Cat Williams has articulated concerns regarding the prevailing political milieu, lamenting that the Founding Fathers never envisaged America as a binary political system. In an interview, Williams underscored that an independent party should wield influence equivalent to the Democrats and Republicans. However, this has been impeded by the collusion of media and political establishments in suppressing independent voices, epitomized by RFK Jr. Williams' remarks illuminate a profound issue: the systematic marginalization of alternative perspectives within American politics. RFK Jr. has emerged as a formidable challenger to the entrenched two-party system, and for this audacity, he faces systematic silencing. Despite a conspicuous media blackout, RFK Jr.'s message has struck a chord with an ever-expanding contingent of the American populace.